The chapter I wrote for the book is about Occupy the Farm, which was a case where some public land owned by the University of California was threatened with development. The university was going to develop it, and some community members decided that that wasn't okay, and they actually occupied the land in order to reclaim it for agroecological research and education. I feel like this is a very important topic, subject, and case to discuss around the issue of land justice in this country, because so much of the land issues are caught up in issues of private property. And here we have an example where the private property owner is actually supposed to be the public, in this case the people of the state of California. And so it brings up this question of when we have public resources, which are supposed to be serving public goods or public ends, when they're used for private profit making, what do we as citizens think of it and what do we do about it? And I think the case gives a good example where people fought and organized locally and in collaboration with a lot of different partners in order to prevent that privatization and actually to create a space for community engagement with that public good. And now we have a situation where the part of the land actually is in a community farm, which never would have been possible before the occupation. I think another reason why this is really important is because across the country there are public institutions, whether they be universities or other entities that are theoretically owned or supposed to be serving the public, which are not doing that job very well. And we actually have a right to those resources, and it's relatively easy. It's not always easy exactly, but we have a good argument to make that those resources should be used for public goods. And the case of Occupy the Farm says that you can struggle for it, and really what it comes down to is you have to actually obstruct the plans of those in power in order to create a space where they're interested in providing concessions, interested in providing some sort of way out of the crisis that they've made for themselves. So I think it's up to us as members of the public to create that crisis for those in power and to make it clear that they can't go on with privatizing our public goods because we not only need them, it's our right. One of the things that was truly beautiful about Occupy the Farm was that we had all these different people. There were students, there were community members from the nearby neighborhood, there was alumni, there was professors. There was a lot of different people really interested in this question of what this land would be used for. And only by actually occupying the land and starting a farm, just doing that work of actually running a farm and figuring out how to get water and figuring out how to keep these plants alive, while we also had the threat of the UC police coming in to arrest us, it really created this sense of not only community, but this ability that we have to actually do things that benefit ourselves directly. It was a real great example of how direct action can bring people not just together, but bring people this sense of power that we often don't get when we engage in the sort of mediated politics of trying to vote for the lesser of two evils, or a lot of the forms of politics we're given options for in this country. So I feel like Occupy the Farm also gives you a lens to see how direct action and forms of activism that are rooted in really making the change you want to see in the world, not waiting for it, that can really empower people in a way that other forms of politics don't.